Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. This week in the studio, I hope to possibly finish this off or get really close. If I finish it, I'll be grouting, and I hope to get started on some of the roses that will be going in the background this week on the fountain. And here is where I left these two pieces. I have 9 more hours of class this week, so I'll update you on how far I get on these. And along with 11 of my students, we have made 23 butterflies for Lori K. Farr's community project called Wings of Hope. It's going to be installed at the Fitton Center in Hamilton, Ohio. So I had to get those in the mail because the deadline is coming up quick. I've been really undecided about the color of the roses on this fountain, and this is why, because my knockout roses are in full bloom, and I can't quite let go of all this color, rather than, that's a new one I planted, using so much color and just going with white. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be taking a lot of reference photos to build up my, I know these aren't climbing roses, but to make my climbing roses. And so I will just have to change the color. So I have these reference photos that I have printed out that I just took of my roses, and then I am tracing them and adding them on here so that I have some realistic starting point for the roses. One thing that's really important about doing it this way is to make sure that I have the right scale. I had first printed out this one, and the rose is just way too big. It's out of scale with the rest of the plant, and so I scaled it down and printed it again. This one is better. It fits in with the rest, so I'm going to use this one. This took me quite a while to get all of the roses on there how I like them. And I do like how that's looking. It looks like quite a bit of work. I'm now thinking maybe I won't put a flower over here, and I've eliminated the hummingbirds. I don't think we need hummingbirds. There's just a lot going on. I'm going to put 2 dragonflies down here to commemorate my 2 nephews who passed away, and maybe a butterfly or 2. Not sure about the butterflies, but the dragonflies for sure. Going to be mostly white, but with some pink hues in the center, including this flamingo pink from Armstrong, which is actually a little bit orange because I did use it in my bluebirds a little bit, and so I'd like to repeat it a little bit in the centers of the roses. So the roses are going to be darker in the centers, and then the petals coming out will be lighter. And I'm also going to make the light coming from this direction. I did that a little bit on the bluebirds with the shadow being on this side. So I have to remember that when I'm making all of my roses. I have a very sad announcement to make. And the sad announcement is this: I don't love these flowers that I made. They just don't have enough color for me. I think in mass they would be quite pretty, but not pretty enough. So I am going to tear them out, which I hate to do, and I'm going to make them pink because I think there needs to be more bold color here to go along with the bold color that I put on the edges and that I'm planning on putting on the border. Sad, but that's what happens. That was pretty quick. I do have to spend a little bit of time getting the residue of the silicone off. Get the rest off, I am going to use nail polish remover because it has acetone, and acetone will dissolve the silicone. So I'm just going to put that on there. Wait a minute. It's already coming off much better. Smearing my lines, I don't care. Much better. Visitor just flew into my studio because I'm in the garage, and you're in the wrong place, buddy. This is so much better. I'm already really liking this much more. Whew. Thanks for visiting my studio, but I think you need to go out. After class this week, I have made some progress on the background of this one, and just a tiny bit of progress on this guy. It's getting there, both of them. 3 more weeks of class. So I just finished this, and I ended up putting some yellow and flamingo in there, and I thought it made the rose look so much more alive that I went ahead and did that to these two. And then a friend of mine who paints came and looked at this, and her suggestion to me was, when you have so many roses, something that's repeated over and over, you need to make sure that they are all not exactly the same. You want to differentiate them in some way. So some I am going to make dark with no yellow, maybe if they're on this side, and some are going to be brighter. The ones that are more tight are going to be darker, I think, and I might pull some other colors. Maybe I'll pull some blues to use for the shadows, so it's not just all the purples that I'm using for shadows. And that'll make it a lot more interesting, and it will make it come alive. And then I wanted to show how I make the leaves. I have selected a type of glass right here. This is my main glass that is mostly green, but it's got blues, it's got some streaks of purple, and I love it. It's beautiful. So that is going to be the main color, but I'm still going to use some of these other greens. For the new growth around a bud, it's going to be a brighter green. And so I will sprinkle some of these other ones in there so that it is not just all these. But you can see this one is way more blue. This one is way darker. So I'm just going to mix it up and see how those come out and not worry too much about shade and shadow, but then pop these brighter colors in there once in a while too to add some variety. That made these roses on the fountain. I took lots and lots of pictures from my garden and from around my neighborhood. And then, for instance, up at the top, I have labeled it number 1. So if I look at this, I have labeled this number 1. There are 5 good roses here, so I've called it Party of 5. For some reason, number 1 doesn't stick, but Party of 5 does. So this is Party of 5 up there. And then if I look at my reference, right here, I have also got one. But at this point, I don't use all 5 roses. I use just some of them. I think I used that one and that one for sure. And yeah, just those 2. So that mixes it up. Plus, I'm going to be changing the color, so no one is really going to realize. I wasn't real careful when I traced them either, so it's not going to look like they're the same rose at all, even though I'm using the same ones multiple times. So here's another one, little trio. I called it because there's 3 of them. Number 6, it's right here. It is also up here, number 6. But it's going to look different when I'm done because I didn't trace all the same ones. I traced it a little bit differently. So there you go. I just found out that Lori got all the butterflies we sent, so that was good news and quite a relief they arrived on time. Did make a good bit of progress, 6.5 roses this week. Most of the time was spent with the design decisions, and so next week there will be a big push to get more of these roses done, so I can't wait to see how far I get next week. That's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.